الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تدخلوا بيوتا غير بيوتكم حتى تستأنسوا وتسلموا على أهلها ذلكم خير لكم لعلكم تذكرون صدق الله العظيم. Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, I've just recited an ayah from Surah An-Nur. This ayah and the few ayat coming after it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the believers as mu'mineen very particular ahkam, very particular commandments in relation to entering homes or entering a house. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O those of you who believe. These ayat are in Surah An-Nur. O those of you who believe, La tadkhulu buyutan ghayra buyutikum. Do not enter any house that is not your house. You should not just walk into any random house. لا تدخلوا بيوتا غير بيوتكم حتى تستأنسوا وتسلموا على أهلها. Until you have asked for permission and you have said salam. وتسلموا على أهلها. You have said salam, you have greeted the people of that house. So it is very, very important that we understand this. Even if we go to some house, the door is even open, we should not enter the house. ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. That is best for you if you want to seek reminder and you want to be reminded, for those who are seeking to be reminded. This entrance of the house should also be noted and made very clear that from the lives of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, and also coming from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, through the lives of Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, their instructions, is that whenever we do go to a house, we ring on the bell or we knock on the door, or in this time and age, we send a quick text message that we're here, any other means by which we may seek permission and they open the door. There are a few instructions that we must follow when coming to this house. This is part of Akhlaq, part of character. Number one, do not stand directly in front of the door that you may be able to see inside if the door is open. And the reason is that if our gaze goes inside, it is as if we have entered that house. So part of the hukum, part of the command in this ayah, that do not enter the houses that are not your houses without taking permission, is that we also make sure our gaze does not go inside if someone opens the door. Sometimes someone may open the door. The condition inside the house may not be suitable for them to be able to invite someone inside. But because we're standing in such a position where our gaze can go inside, then it is as if we have entered their house. We see the condition of their house. This should not be the akhlaq and the character of a believer. Should always stand to the side, face the side, away from the door. Stand in such a way where even if they open the door, you cannot see inside other than the person standing at the door. And even when you speak to them, don't stand in a way where you can see inside. Only when you are given permission to come inside the house, then you can look and you can go inside the house. These are some of the instructions that our beautiful deen has taught us. فَإِن لَمْ تَجِدُوا فِيهَا أَحَدًا فَلَا تَدْخُلُوهَا حَتَّى يُؤْذَنَ لَكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us that if you don't find anyone inside, then don't enter that house without permission. Sometimes we get a message that someone has left something for us just to go pick it up from their house. We send them a message back that I don't find this item. They tell us, no, it's inside the door is open. So we're seeking permission to give us the permission to take that item. We should not open the door, look inside and take the item and go walk around, oh, nobody's home, No, just take the item and leave. Avoid even looking inside beyond what you need to see. But this is what the ayat so clear. If you don't find anyone in that house, you have this knowledge that there's nobody at home, then don't enter that house without permission. Beyond what you are told. It does happen, and it happens in our society all the time. Sometimes someone wants to give us something, they ask us to come, or they request us to come and pick it up. We go to the house, and with messages, we're able to take permission from the person to take it. They tell us the item is right at the door inside. And they tell us that the door is open, or they give us the code to the door, or tell us where the key is. So we open the door, we're able to take that item. Our gaze should not go beyond that. Also, we should not go beyond that. We should try to keep within the limits. That's what our deen teaches us. There is also we have also been instructed, our scholars have told us that if there is a situation where there is family members and that family has told us to come to their house and we are open with that family member, we always go to their house. Or there's a situation where we have a friend and we are so close to that friend that we're always visiting that friend, we're always in connection with that friend. And that friend does not feel anything that if we are in their house or not. We become so open with them, as if their house becomes our house and our house becomes their house. Then in such situations, the permission of entering that house has become as if that house is also one of ours, but even then we should exercise caution. Which means that we will not be held liable if we do go to that house so no one is there and we are told that you can go inside. And we already treat that house as if it is very close to our house. And then we should follow the rules as if we are in our house, but even then we should take precautions. So there is not so strict that it's the end, No. Islam has told us that there are certain situations, even in the books of fiqh, that there are some people we are so close to, we always visit them and they always visit us. And they never feel offended if we point out something in their house needs to be cleaned or fixed, or it's almost like our own house. And we never feel offended if they come and give us advice about our house. There's no idea of feeling bad or, feeling this awkwardness because we're so close and so, as far as friends are concerned or family is concerned, we become so close. Then even for us to go there, even when there's no one there, there is permission given, but even then we should exercise caution. That is what we're told. Sometimes it happens, we become so close, we go to that house, no one is there, we still go to the fridge like we normally do, take a glass of juice or have some snacks. This is allowed, but we should still exercise caution. The next portion within these ayat is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ أَن تَدْخُلُوا بُيُوتًا غَيْرَ مَسْكُونَةٍ فِيهَا مَتَاعٌ لَكُمْ. This ayat is quite amazing because it gives us the option. It says that there's no blame on you if you enter a house where no one is living there. First of all, you have to have, when we have this type of house where no one is living there, then generally what happens is that most people will not enter. They fear the haunted house and this whole concept of haunted houses and that there may be something else there. So no one wants to enter those houses anyway. But the option is given there, فِيهَا مَتَاعٌ لَكُمْ. If there are, something for you that you need and it isn't there, then you have the option to enter that house and nobody is there. So we are allowed to enter that type of place. But even then, we should be very, very careful. Because sometimes we don't know who that house may belong to. We don't know who else is there. Sometimes it happens, these kind of abandoned homes, abandoned places. Sometimes the homeless stay there. Sometimes the dangerous people stay there. We don't know. So we should be very, very careful. Sometimes things we don't see. People have this notion that they live there. First of all, they don't live in homes like we live, okay? This whole idea that this is some kind of, first of all, they don't live in homes like we live, okay? Talking about the jinn. They generally live in mountains or in forests. Also, if there is some situation where there is some abandoned house, the reason people feel scared is because in any part of the world, and this is an amazing thing with the human being, wherever insan and human being lives, they leave behind an aura of life. The human being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this ruh, each and every one of us. One of the power that this ruh has is that in any place this ruh is, it gives off a kind of sense that other creatures and other animals, they move away. They leave that place. So whenever humans stay in a place for long enough, for a long period of time, if humans are not there for a long period of time, so then that aura is gone. But once a human being stays in a particular place for long enough, that aura appears and person feels comfortable to be able to go there. In any place where the human being is not living, you do not have that aura or that feeling of life. That is why we become scared whenever we go to places where human beings don't abide. So this is a natural human instinct. And even then, we should be very, very careful in entering these kind of homes or these kind of places. So this is the ahkam related to entering a house. We should never enter someone's house without permission. If we do it, it's sinful if we do it without permission. Also, even entering homes of our friends or people that we're close with, we should take their permission. We should say salam to them. If we are invited to someone's house, never stand directly in front of the door. Stand to the side. This is from the sunnah of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum and what we have been taught in our beautiful deen. Avoid taking your gaze inside when you have not been given permission to enter. This is very, very, it is amongst the karahat, the disliked things, that you should look inside someone's house without their permission. And apply this to our lives. We should be very, very careful whose things we look at without their permission in general. So this is one thing, the ahkam related to coming to a house. Inside the house. Inside our house, we have different family members. We have families have parents, children, different siblings. Sometimes there are others that are living there as well. In Surah An-Nur, the same surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us some very, very particular ahkam, very, very particular commands about living inside a house. One of those commands applies to also entering someone else's room. Because inside a house, everyone has their own quarters, everyone has their own room. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah An-Nur, this is also related to akhlaq and character. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, liyasta'adhinukum alladhina malakat aymanukum, walladhina lam yablughul huluma minkum thalatha marrat. All those of you who believe, those whom your right hand possesses, meaning the servants, and back then they used to also have slaves. So there are servants and also even the children that have not reached bulugh, even the age of puberty. They should never enter, don't allow them to enter the room without permission on 3 occasions. Okay, they should not be allowed to enter into a room without permission on 3 occasions, which means anyone, even those that we may consider are too young, or maybe they're servants. In some parts of the world, they still have servants that come and they clean and they do other things. They become very open with the family. They enter all the rooms and they enter everywhere. But there are 3 times in the day where the hukum is that they should not enter without permission. Very, you should knock. Make sure whoever is inside the room particularly allows you, otherwise don't enter. Okay, and also you should not even seek to try and go to the room during those times. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says thalatha marrat, on 3 occasions. You should be extra careful. You should even avoid taking permission because someone may be resting during these 3 times. Thalatha marrat. Min qabli salat al-fajr, before the fajr salah. Don't just walk into someone's room. Even you have this notion, oh, this person is awake, he's praying tahajjud. MashaAllah, leave him to pray his tahajjud or their tahajjud. They're talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not your time to just walk in on them. Okay, even if you know that this person is righteous, mashallah, they're praying their qiyam al-layl, don't just walk into the room. Even you need something, wait. If it is a real urgency, knock on the door, make it clear to them that you need a particular thing. And if they can just hurry up, and then they give you permission. Okay? Min qabli salat al-fajr. This ayah says, before the fajr salat, don't just walk into someone's room. وَحِينَ تَضَعُونَ ثِيَابَكُم مِّنَ الظَّهِيرَةِ. And also during the time when you're changing your clothes during the dhuhr time, dhahira. Dhahira is the midday, right after the midday. It was a sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that he used to rest during the midday, during the zawal, and right after that he would wake up and prepare for the dhuhr salah. So this time, it is a time of rest. It is also a time where people want some seclusion to themselves. Even if they don't sleep, someone goes to their room at that time, they've been tired from school, they've been tired from work, they've been tired from whatever. Now, mashallah, most everyone is working from home, those that can work from home. So they come home, they're at home, they're in their room at that time. Don't just walk in. This is very, because that time, it is a very important time. They need their own peace of mind. They want to be left alone. Okay? I mean, ba'di salat al-isha, and also after the salat al-isha. Okay? Don't just barge into someone's room after isha salat. Don't do this. This is not allowed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in this ayah, ثَلَاثَ عَوْرَاتٍ لَكُمْ. These three times, they're the awrat time, the time where a person is in their room in the time of their own privacy. And they may be changing their clothing, or they may be doing something. It's a time of privacy. A person needs their own privacy. So Islam is very, very particular and very careful of the privacy of the people inside the home as well. So it is Akhlaq dictates that we also take care of these times. Before the Fajr Salah, after the Isha, basically all night. After Isha Salah, avoid just walking into someone's room until after Fajr. Okay? From after Isha until after Fajr, avoid going into someone's room. Those are very important times. People have their own privacy, their own needs, their own things in their rooms at that time. That is a person's privacy. And also during the midday. But there's also indirectly a message for us that if we know a particular time someone is resting, we should also avoid barging into the room. Okay? This is if it is not our room. I want to make that clear. This is if it is not our room. If we are sharing a room with someone, either spouses or siblings, they share a room, it's your room also. Go on in, okay? This is talking about somebody who's not, if they're not in our room, then we should make sure that people take permission. We should not just barge in. It's not the way. It's not what our deen teaches us. Other than these times, then people can come and check and see whatever they need and take what they need, and also do cleaning and other things outside of these times. So these are the ahkam related to entering a house. These are the ahkam related to having the akhlaq at home, character at home. We should also take care of people's privacy. As far as going to people's homes and entering people's homes, we should take care of privacy. Also in our own homes, we should be very careful with the privacy of others. This is what our deen dictates. This is what our deen teaches us. It's very important that we also knock, we take permission. These are things that we should learn in our akhlaq, in our system of akhlaq. We should have this beautiful character that our deen has taught us. There have been some occasions where some Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they sought permission to be allowed to go to their rooms of their parents. One Sahabi came, he requested permission from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that my mother, sometimes I need to serve her, and this ayah has been revealed related to these three times. Sometimes I need to go and I need to serve her. Can I just walk in? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told him very clearly, do not do it without permission. That is a time of privacy. You do not walk in. You do not want to walk in on your mother in a condition or a situation where she does not want to see you in that condition, where she does not want you to see her in that condition. So this is very careful. Be very careful. Understand these ahkam. We should try and abide by these rules. This is part of character and building the character of a believer. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. All of these ayat are in Surah An-Nur. You can check them inshallah and study them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us understanding and give us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Inshallah, we will read some hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال, Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, we should say sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Man tamassaka bi sunnati inda fasadi ummati falahu ajru shaheed. Or kama qala alayhi salatu wassalam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Man tamassaka bi sunnati inda fasadi ummati. Whosoever will hold on to my sunnah strongly, whosoever will strongly hold on to my sunnah, inda fasadi ummati, during the fasad of my ummah, during the time where the ummah will be in great fasad, in great tribulations and lost, falahu ajru shaheed. For such a person, there will be the ajr of shaheed, there will be the reward of a shaheed. Rawahu Tabarani, this hadith is in Tabarani. There are a few points that need to be made very clear about this hadith. Now, this mentions that holding on to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. There are, amongst the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there are different types of sunnah that we have been told. There is the sunnah mu'akkada, there is the sunnah ghayr mu'akkada. There are those sunnah which are related to the way that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he dressed and he ate and he lived his life. Okay? Abiding by all of the sunnah is very, very important. So here, tamassaka bi sunnati is holding on to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, also incorporates trying our best to follow as much of the sunnah as we can, down to even the sunnah of how Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam he dressed, how Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam he ate his food, how he rested, and so on and so forth. And many a times, in times of fasad and in times of difficulty, those are the sunnah that people sometimes leave off. Sometimes people feel that if I dress the way that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam dressed, trying our best, aqrabu ila sunnah, to be as close to sunnah with our dress, that maybe in the society I'll be looked at as something strange. And it becomes very difficult. And sometimes even forget the non-Muslims, even the Muslims in certain situations may start to criticize this person. Why are you dressing like this? Why are you being like this? And then everybody wants to make comments about this person. So this hadith is talking about those situations, that a time when the ummah will be in fasad, the time when the ummah will be lost, at the time when the Muslims will be gone on a path that will not be close to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And at that time, in those situations, in that community, in that country, in that scenario, in that surrounding, a person even implements those sunnah, then it becomes a type of, it's a very, very difficult thing and a very great struggle at that time. Because you're also facing the critique from the outside, the non-Muslims. You're facing the critique from those that are there, that are all around you. It's a very, very, very difficult thing. So that is why following the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam at that time, there's the ajr of shaheed. And not just following, tamassaka, really holding on to it and really implementing it in your life and doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why there's the ajr of shaheed. It's not an easy thing. How many times we may be dressed as Muslims, and many a time our sisters, the Muslim sisters, they can relate to this, that they have to go to the shopping centers with their hijab and they have to dress in hijab. So sometimes they're shopping, people give them strange looks. People make comments about them, and sometimes the comments are strange. One of my friends was telling me that his sister was shopping and she used to wear the full hijab. She even used to have the niqab covering her face. So someone was walking by and commented, "Man, you look like a ninja." So she said, "I have moves that come along with this dress." I'm not advocating any kind of, but it was one of those moments that, it really, the person commented, "You look like a ninja." She said, "I have moves that come with this dress also." But these are the times that it becomes very, very difficult to be able to even dress in the sunnah and even follow the ahkam of our deen when we're shopping, when we're going to other places, especially in times of difficulty. And then sometimes you have some Muslims who are advocating not to do that. It makes it even more difficult. Also for the brothers, also try and bring the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam into your life. So this is what is mentioned, the ajr of shaheed. For those who in that great time, this is why there's so much reward for it. Sometimes our sisters don't realize what kind of reward they are getting just for being in hijab and covering and practicing the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the sunnah of the ummahat al-mu'mineen, the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the righteous sahabiyat. That there's the ajr of shaheed in this at a time when people give you those glances, people make comments. There's so much reward in all of that. And sometimes we try to comprehend what is the ajr of shaheed. Remember, after the Anbiya alayhim as-salam, the prophets and messengers, then in paradise, there is the status of the shuhada and the status of the ulama. That'll be in Jannah. It's very, very high and great status. And it is mentioned that even when the shaheed, they pass away from this world, their soul is taken. For them, death feels like the prick of a needle, and their soul is turned into a bird and allowed to fly in paradise. So even they don't notice this time of death, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it so easy for them. So this is what our deen is teaching us. The time will come where people will make comments about you. People will say things about you. And it will happen in the society. Tonight we'll be reciting Surah Al-Hijr. In Surah Al-Hijr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about Lut also. They used to make comments about Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam and his family. And Lut, they were a nation that was addicted to their desires and very terrible desires. They had gone very far away. They had gone even beyond the natural order of things. So the first nation that started practicing this openly, this gay system and these kind of terrible actions. And they used to make fun of those that were righteous. They used to mock at them. They used to say, إِنَّهُمْ أُنَاسٌ يَتَطَهَّرُونَ. These are people who want to be pure. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in the Quran so that we may be able to understand that for the righteous and the pious and the pure people, even when they're practicing the deen, yes, they'll be mocked at. People will look at them and make comments about them. But we should never ever give up our deen or give up our sunnah when people make comments about us. We should become even more firm in practicing our deen. This will give us even much more ajr. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in Surah Al-Hijr also. So the Qawm is mentioned. So the Qawm of Hijr, they were a nation that was living in the forests. Some say this was Qawmi Madian. Others say this was a nation that Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam, he was sent to after Qawmi Madian was destroyed. But all of these things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions within these ayat is for us to understand that practicing the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should never ever make compromise in this deen. We should try our best to facilitate to the best of our ability. Tonight also, inshallah, we'll recite Surah An-Nahl. In Surah An-Nahl, what is amazing is the majority of the surah, almost all of the surah, speaks about the numerous bounties and favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Throughout this surah, you'll find this, the Ismul Dhat, Allah. It is mentioned so many times in this surah. And also the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in this surah. Also the An-Nahl means the bee. And the honey is mentioned in this surah. This is the surah where honey is mentioned as a cure. The surah where milk is mentioned. This is the surah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions our homes, our clothing. So many things are mentioned in this surah as far as the favors and bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Towards the end of the surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us one thing very clearly about Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. Inna Ibrahim kana ummatan qanitan lillahi hanifa wa lam yakun min al-mushrikeen. There are a few beautiful qualities that are mentioned about Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, ummatan, he was a one-man nation. He did not care that if everyone was against him or everyone was criticizing him. He was muwahhid, he turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Qanitan lillah, he was content, satisfied, and very devoted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all conditions. He did not complain. Hanifan, he turned away from all forms of disobedience and shirk, and he turned only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, he never associated partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. شَاكِرًا لِأَنْعُمِهِ, he was extremely grateful for the favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed on him. اجتباه, because of these beautiful qualities. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, اجتباه, we selected him. وَهَدَاهُ إِلَىٰ صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ, and we guided him to صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيم, to the straight path. وَآتَيْنَاهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنًا, and we gave him in this world hasana, very good life. وَإِنَّهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ لَمِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ, and hereafter he'll be with the righteous. He was from the righteous, the leaders of the righteous. ثُمَّ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ, then we revealed to you, O Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أَنِ اتَّبِعْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا, that you also follow the millat of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, Hanif. So it is very, very important that we also follow that millah. That regardless of what might be going on in the society, how much people may criticize us, how much people may mock us, how many people may make comments about us, we should never ever compromise on our deen. This is a message first and foremost to our sisters that sometimes wearing hijab, that these ideas come into the mind. And shaitan, he always likes putting these ideas in the mind that, oh, so-and-so will say something, or you will not be accepted in the society, or you may not have some friend, or you may not have this. And even a person becomes afraid to go shopping or to go doing many things. But we should never ever compromise. Many of those that were saying that, look at the beautiful power, look at the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now everyone is wearing masks for protection. This is how much protection and barakah and blessings is in our deen, in our religion. That there's so much hikmah, so much wisdom in the hijab, so much wisdom in the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that now even medical science is telling the people to cover their faces so that they do not get this epidemic that we're facing, this pandemic that we're facing, that they do not end up being affected by COVID-19 or by this virus. Cover their faces. This is what our deen was teaching us for so long. And even not just, even the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he used to even wear a scarf. They're telling you even wear the scarves. It's so amazing that even our president was telling me, this was the most surprising thing for us, that even our president, Donald J. Trump, was telling everyone to wear a scarf. cover your face with the scarf. That if you don't have mask, he said, there's actually a clip of him encouraging the people to wear scarves. He said, I encourage it. It's good. Don't worry about it. Wear it. Cover your face with it. Allahu Akbar. What a beautiful deen we have. What a beautiful Islam we have. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us guidance so that we may see the value in our beautiful deen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen and to also implement the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in our lives. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ. Inshallah, we will do our tilawah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka.